Welcome back. So now that we've gone over the components of a resume, let's discuss some techniques to make your resume stand out. Remember that one resume is not going to fit all of the jobs you apply for. You will be creating multiple resumes based on the different positions and organizations you're interested in. Ask yourself, what do I want the employer to think of me after reading my resume? Which of my experiences would relate most closely to this role? And include, remove, emphasize content accordingly. You don't want the employer to have to analyze why certain information on your resume would be valuable. Do the work for them. Again, this is where transferable skills come in. Even if you don't have direct experience in the industry you're applying for, you have other experiences that have shaped you as a professional. Consider all your past positions and identify how those skills could be related to the job you're applying for now. For example, here are some skills you might have learned that could be valuable in any job. When developing the vocabulary in your resume, you've got to keep in mind what the employer is looking for. Use keywords to help your resume make it past the applicant tracking system. You can pull these keywords and industry-specific jargon by looking at the job description and even postings of different positions within the same company. You could also look at industry publications, ONET, and LinkedIn, and even ask people that are in that profession, what are the skills required to succeed in this industry? When organizing your experience, once you've gotten the basic information down, you can consider some other possible headers. Steer clear of something like activities or hobbies, since that's not as professional. Instead, think of some powerful heading titles such as interest areas, honors and awards, special skills, leadership experience, community involvement, international experience if you've studied abroad or done mission work, or certifications. The headings you choose may also depend on the job you're applying for. For example, you could add a section entitled Childcare Experience or Engineering Experience. Remember that the organization and layout positioning on the page is crucial. Recruiters might be reading your resume in less than 15 seconds and are going to be looking for specific sections and keywords. That's why you want the qualification section up at the top, and that's why you want the job titles on the left side of the page. You have to think about everything's placement on the page. Also think about font styles. You can use bold, italics, and underlines to emphasize important information and define your section headers. It's going to be read quickly, so you shouldn't waste space on bullet points that aren't relevant to the position you're applying for. Standard resumes are one page, but this also depends on what industry you're in and how long you have been working. Check with a faculty member or career counselor to see what the standard is for your major. As far as the font itself, choose something easy to read and keep it to size 11 or 12. And make sure the overall layout looks attractive and organized. If you have big sections of words, they're likely to just get skipped over because it is too daunting for someone who has to read through a lot of these. So that layout can really pull someone in to the sections that you want them to see. Unless you're in an industry like fashion or graphic design that openly encourages resumes with unique and creative layouts, it's almost always better to stick with a standard format. The resume robots have a hard time processing them, and employers don't want to spend extra time getting accustomed to your unique layout. Make it simple and format it according to industry standards. A few more tips and tricks. Avoid redundancy. If you've done similar jobs several times, you don't need to list the same job duties under each one. Include a few bullet points underneath each and find unique ways of saying different things. Please don't include references available upon request. Of course, you will give the employer some references if they ask for them, and we don't need to waste the time to say that. Since you're using bullet points, you don't need to use personal pronouns like I or me. We already know that the entire resume is about you. Keep your verb tense consistent. This is a common mistake. Use past tense to describe your previous experience and present tense for the job you're currently at. Never lie on your resume. It's fine to say things that are professional and appropriate, but don't misrepresent yourself. And use periods consistently within your sections. You can include periods at the end of your bullet points, or you can choose not to. Either way is fine, but just remember to remain consistent throughout. The final product needs to be perfect. If you can, print it on resume paper that's a bit heavier than normal paper. Be sure to have someone else proofread it before you send it out. It's easy at times to think that what you wrote makes perfect sense because after all, you wrote it. But unfortunately, we're all prone to making some mistakes or suboptimal writing decisions that we simply can't catch and fix ourselves. So never skip this final step. It might just be the most important one. If you're submitting online, pay attention to the following guidelines. Each job application system is different, and they often have very specific requirements and instructions for the application packet. You want to do it right and include everything they ask for, so take your time. If you're sending an email with the job application and resume, make the subject line appropriate with your name, the job title, and what you're applying for. And when sending resumes online, attach it as a PDF rather than a Word document, so your formatting is set and it comes through the way you intended it to do. And then think about the text of that email as a professional cover letter. Use a professional greeting and professional signature. Don't use shorthand on any of your communication. All right, so you got your resume ready to go, but that's not the end of your work. Here are some common mistakes to avoid. Don't just start posting your resume online and wait for employers to come to you. There are hundreds or even thousands of other candidates on these job boards, so it's going to take a little extra work. Online platforms like SPU Handshake and LinkedIn are some other valuable job search tools. Don't apply to a large number of random employers. It's better to target your search so you can personalize your materials and follow up appropriately. Don't just apply to Fortune 500 companies. If you only apply to well-known organizations, you'll end up discrediting a lot of excellent opportunities. And working for a smaller company can give you a lot of opportunities to learn a variety of skills and grow in your career. And don't rely completely on your resume to find your next job. There are other things you should be doing. Instead, network in person. You need to put yourself out there, talk to people, find out where there's openings, find out what might be a good fit for you. 85% of jobs are filled through networking, so the very best thing you can do for your job search is to meet professionals in person. Conduct informational interviews. Talk to people that are in positions that you're interested in or work for companies that you're curious about. You're not going to say, please hire me. You're there to establish connections, gain information about the industry, and understand what opportunities are available. As I mentioned, consider all different sized companies. It's great to start with a smaller mid-sized company and work your way up. And many are hiring more or more aggressively than the big companies. And it's okay to communicate that you're interested in the position at a place where there isn't currently an opening. Don't be inappropriate, but a professional inquiry or asking somebody to keep a resume on file and checking back on a regular basis is okay. Be sure you follow up with every resume you send. Just hitting send is not enough. You need to check in professionally and be serious about your job search. So this concludes our resume series. Thank you so much for joining us. And once you have a strong draft of your resume, current undergraduate students and alumni are welcome to come to the CCC for additional feedback. Stop by our office on the second floor of the Student Union building, or call and schedule an appointment for further support with your career and calling. Also, check out our additional online resources on cover letters, LinkedIn, job search, internship search, interviews, and more. Thank you and happy resume writing!